Chapter 262, The Three Sects and Nine Clans. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Swish. A bright blood red light shot out of the center of G City. It transformed into a light beam that connected heaven and earth. The top of the light beam that formed a blood cloud was clearly visible at even 100 kilometers away. Such a scene could only be seen every year during the ceremony of worship on winter solstice. What are they doing? How come they are still sacrificing in G City at this moment? Do they really believe they would be able to summon the gods? Link Cyansu smiled while stroking his beard gently. He thought that Zhang Yuochen and Hanku were too naive in gambling on the gods at this dying moment. Ignorant. Stupid. Sound waves spilled from Link Cyansu's mouth and the sound traveled into the city. Juniors, it's not going to do you any good to seek the gods' help. Even the gods are not able to save you too. Hear my orders, all the savage beasts, attack. In a moment, there was a loud boom. Suddenly, the defender array in G City was first broken, then after another moment, the two other defensive arrays were also broken. The savage beasts surged into the G City endlessly like an inky black tide. Below the altar, after Zhang Yuochen had absorbed a large amount of sacrificial power, he finally broke through the realm and reached the medium state of the earth realm. After restoring the martial soul back to his body, Zhang Yuochen's body released a powerful force and all the bones in his body made a popping sound. Hanku, who sat cross-legged opposite Zhang Yuochen, also released a soft white light, looking elegant and beautiful as if she had turned into a flawless and purified fairy. Every inch of her skin was as pure as jade except her glabella. There, a dark crescent-shaped mark appeared. If examined closely, the crescent-shaped mark was completely different from her temperament. It gave off a dark, cold, and gloomy feeling as if she was going to swallow all the light sources nearby. She practices the Black Moon Chi Si. Zhang Yuochen stared Hanku in shock. Generally, a warrior's Chi Si would be completely stabilized only when they reached the heaven realm and then change into a unique state. About 99% of warriors' Chi Sis were the common circle Chi Si. Only very few warriors with gifted talents as well as special physical quality were able to practice Unkyu Chi Si. Like Hanku, she had transformed her Chi Si to a special shape when she reached the completion of the earth realm. Besides, her shape Black Moon Chi Si was so exceptionally rare that her martial arts talent could be classified as extremely outstanding. Since her Chi Si had formed a shape, she had also elevated her ability. There was a dark black splendor shining in Hanku's pupils. She looked at Zhang Yuochen gratefully and said, "Thank you so much, Zhang Yuochen. I feel like the two forces clashing in my body have weakened." Zhang Yuochen responded, "After absorbing the sacrifice power, your martial arts has certainly improved. Along with the power of the Saint's Light Pill, you won't encounter any danger in a short period of time. If you can break through to the heaven realm and reach an even higher realm, you'll be able to practice other exercises. I would suggest you practice the Tji innate skills, the greatest book of Tji doctrine. There's no absolute answer in Tji, whether it's right or wrong, easy or difficult, long or short, they are all mutually inclusive. By practicing the Tji innate skills, it will help you dissolve the two clashing powers in your body. At the same time, it allows you to utilize both powers rationally. It's the best practice skill for you." Hanku was confused and asked, "Tji doctrine?" Zhang Yuochen smiled gently and said, "There's a saying about the 3 sects and 9 clans in the Kunlun's field. The martial arts in this world come from 3 sects while the 9 clans pass it on. It means that the martial arts we know all come from 3 sects. With the evolution of martial arts as well as the expansion of the land of the human clans, first-class power, second-class power, ninth-class power all gradually developed. Tji doctrine refers to one of the 3 doctrines. Other than the chief altar, there are 3 major branches: Liangyi sect, Four Symbols sect, and Baguous sect. These 3 sects are all classified as the first-class power and have produced plenty of saints. Since the legacy of the ancient times as well as the prosperous medieval ancient times, the disciples of the Tji doctrine are all around the world. The yin-yang two-form sword array we are learning is the top sword array of the Liangyi sect. Teaching you the 9 yin sword is a stroke of luck. If you want to learn the Tji innate skills, you should consider enrolling in the Liangyi sect. I guess when the predecessors of the Liangyi sect see the 9-yin sword, they will be happy to take you as their disciple. Of course, if it does happen, don't tell them I'm the one who passed it on to you." Hanku digested every single word Zhang Yuochen said. She was like a quiet student listening to her teacher. It was undeniable that Hanku was indeed impressed by Zhang Yuochen's knowledge. Moreover, if the Liangyi sect was a first-class power like Zhang Yuochen said, it would be absolutely worthwhile to become one of their disciples. Even the Yuntai suzerain, which lorded over the 36 commanderies of the Omen Ridge, was only a fourth-class power. They were like an ant in front of a first-class power. How did Zhang Yuochen know the top sword array of the Liangyi sect? Perhaps he's one of the disciples of an important person of the Liangyi sect. It is to be. Otherwise, a prince of such an inferior commandery would never be able to master the yin-yang two-form sword array. Zhang Yuochen looked into Hanku's eyes and reminded her, "I hope you won't expose my secret to anybody else." "Don't worry. I promise I won't tell anyone, not even my father." "Anyhow, you saved me and helped me suppress the two clashing powers in my body. It has allowed me to step up to a higher realm in my martial arts pathway." Hanku laughed and continued, "What's more, I feel like my ability has elevated after the practice. Although I haven't broken through to the heaven realm, I think it's not going to be difficult for me to fight with warriors who are 4 realms higher." Zhang Yuochen asked, "4 unique skills already?" "Yeah, pretty much." Hanku was joyful and said, "Zhang Tangai is the genius with 4 unique skills. He's called the #1 genius of the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge. Yet, I think I'm strong enough to confront him." "Congratulations." Knowing that Hanku was able to confront his brother, Zhang Yuochen was happy for her. Hanku blinked her eyes while biting her lips. She revealed a perfect smile and said, "I'm curious, which level of genius have you reached?" "Well, I've never been to the 9 Uniquenesses Palace, so I don't know." In fact, the so-called 3-realm fighting genius and 4-realm fighting genius are meaningless. Only warriors in the young generation who like showing off call themselves by such nicknames. Suddenly, Zhang Yuochen's sight sharpened and said, "Oh no, Ji City has been attacked. The real battle has finally started." He stood up immediately with his genuine chi pouring out. The battle lust emanating from Hanku's body was very powerful. She took out the ancient white jade sword and said confidently, "Since we've both elevated our cultivation, it shouldn't be a problem to attack. Let's fight." Zhang Yuochen held the abyss ancient sword, struck out a white sword breath over 10 meters long and split the altar in half. At the same time, Golden Lizard Beetle, a 3rd-level savage beast, had crawled up to the altar. Straight away it had been torn apart by the sword breath and fell down to the ground. Boom! Zhang Yuochen rushed out from the altar instantly. He displayed the shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon, transformed into 9 shadows and charged forward over 10 meters. PFFFT, PFFFT. When he stopped, he found 9 dead bodies of savage beasts on the ground. Every step he made, he could kill one of them. Hanku had also rushed out from the bottom of the altar. She swung the sword out horizontally. It transformed into a pillar-shaped sword breath and pierced through the bodies of 2 savage beasts at the same time. Boom! All of a sudden, a cyan winged red python, 100 meters long and a 4th-level savage beast with palm-sized scales all over its body charged out. It swung its tail and struck towards Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen rose to his toes and leapt up to 20 meters high so as to escape from its attack. The genuine chi in the cyan winged red python's body flowed. It spat out a mouthful of cyan ice while staring intensely at Zhang Yuochen. Phew! Every building, every one of the savage beast within 100 meters in the distance had been sealed with ice. Bang! Zhang Yuochen broke the ice and flew out. He rotated his body and struck his sword toward the neck of the cyan winged red python. It pulled back its head and escaped from the sword breath. Once again, it spat out a mouthful of icing air. This time, instead of escaping, Zhang Yuochen stretched out his left arm and struck a palm out. He created a piece of spiritual fire genuine qi which clashed with the icing air. Phew. The energy of the two powers constantly offset each other. When the cyan winged red python ran out of genuine qi and it stopped spitting out icing air, Zhang Yuochen seized this chance and swung his sword toward it. Sacred Plenilune Sword. His fighting sword pierced through the cyan-winged red python's neck and left a long sword shadow. Boom! The cyan-winged red python's body fell to the ground heavily. After breaking through to a higher realm, it's indeed a lot easier to deal with a 4th level lower class savage beast. Once again, Zhang Yuochen charged into the crowd of savage beasts and continued fighting. He wanted to open a way for Hanku and himself to leave Ji City. Beep! A black giant eagle with a dragon head flew down from the sky like a wisp of black cloud. Its body was at least 10 meters long. It carried a reckless vigor and pressed down on Zhang Yuochen's head. A dragon eagle, a 4th level savage beast, was the so-called Lord of the Sky. Its claws were as sharp as dragon claws. Zhang Yuochen moved aside and escaped from the dragon eagle's claws. Bang! The dragon eagle's claws scratched the ground and the stone ground turned into powder in seconds as if it were as soft as tofu. It left a massive claw print on the ground. Link Xiansu stared coldly at the Colosseum below and said, "I can't believe he escaped from our eagle's attack. Guess this kid has certainly elevated his ability." The dragon eagle was the most powerful fighting savage beast Link Xiansu had summoned. Therefore, he had full confidence that it could kill Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen decided not to fight head-on with the dragon eagle but instead he charged toward Link Xiansu. The beast training master has done a great job in controlling the savage beasts. Yet, their personal ability might not be as strong. Once I kill Link Xiansu, all the danger in front of me would naturally come to an end. Zhang Yuochen thrust up against the ground and charged toward Link Xiansu. His sword was like a shooting star as it pierced forward.